Hi everybody, Mark here with Camino Tranquilo. That's right, we're back in the blandly beige room. I was going to do this episode outside, but there's tons of people around, so I'm just too embarrassed to do that. The park in Leon was nice. So hi, welcome to question and answer number 4. This is 2026. I'm on Camino. I am in Astorga, Spain right now. Beautiful place. Trying not to die due to just sheer volume of chocolate consumption, which is, I'm not really a huge fan of chocolate, but it is so good here that I kind of have to. Remember, going forward, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And or you can email me at askmeacaminoquestion@gmail.com. And I will not only try to get you a reasonably intelligent answer there, give you what help I can in private. I may steal your question to use here. I apologize. I'm really scatterbrained. The Camino it's not just physically, it's mentally kind of tiring, and I'm not firing on everything right now, but having a great time. Astorga is one of my favorite places. It's just gorgeous. And having a really good time. The weather's been fantastic, so there's been no issues. Nope, that's about it. I just uploaded my video for the day's progression, so if you're at all interested in that, go watch those. If you just want the Q&A content, this is the place to be, because I've got a short list of questions this week. Some were from email, and a few are issues or questions that I have heard interacting with pilgrims here, or concerns or issues that people have had here. So we'll cover a few of those, and then we'll see how it goes. But remember, if you have questions for these Q&As are going to be weekly while I'm on Camino, and even after I get back from Camino. I kind of want this to be an evergreen process where we can answer those questions. We can crowdsource the info. I do the Caminos, every 18 months or so. So hopefully the info is fairly recent and current. Anyway, so Q&A question 1. Somebody commented under one of my other videos speaking about, I was talking about food, and she has concerns. She does not consume meat. She tries to stay away from refined sugars, processed foods, and breads and such. So how to handle food on the Camino, because the Camino this is an endurance event. This isn't much of a more just kind of hangout vacation. You're going to be burning an extra couple thousand to more calories every day above your normal caloric demand. So you have to get the food into you, and you have to get the protein into you. Now, she didn't mention whether she does eggs or not. If she does, then tortilla is going to become her best friend. Tortilla has, it's essentially in its most purest form, it is potatoes, eggs, oil, and salt. That's about it. It's a pretty it's a pretty good balance of carbs, fat, and protein. And it is a really good breakfast before you get out on the Camino, because you do have that trifecta of those 3 important nutrient groups for yourself. What I advised her was really consider making sure you have a pack that is large enough and comfortable enough that you can pack in a little bit of extra food, and that she make sure she books albergues that have some decent little kitchens and such. And if you look in the different guides, Wise Pilgrim, Camino, Ninja, whatever your Brierly guides, whatever you're into, or ask your Facebook groups. If you're on any of the Camino Facebook groups, or if you're on the Camino forum run by Ivar Redke, or whatever, just ask around. When you have a significant challenge like that, you're going to need to do a lot more groundwork before you hit the Camino. Hitting the Camino with a challenging nutrition program is not something you want to figure out on the fly. Do yourself a favor, try to get that stuff figured out a little bit before. But I deeply suspect, because she has been doing this diet, she's used to being flexible and understanding the vagaries of dealing with that kind of stuff. I have no doubt she's going to do just fine. There's going to be some rocky days. There's going to be some days of maybe not getting as many calories as she may need, but she can always make up for it. Remember, your caloric demand is not a 24-hour cycle. In many ways, particularly for replenishing your muscles and everything, it's more of a 72-hour cycle. So as long as you can refeed generously, a lot like the intermittent faster folks do, they're still getting the same amount of calories. They're just spreading it out. So anyway, question number 2. Somebody asked about the chocolate here in Astorga. Yes, chocolate bars. Astorga is the self-proclaimed capital of chocolate for Spain. I believe it's because the chocolate was processed here. It would come up from Cadiz through Sevilla and then end up here along the Via de la Plata, which is a Camino you can walk from Seville. It comes here and then you go to Santiago. There are dozens and dozens of different types of chocolate. I'm not going to try to list them all. And he also asked, can you buy them anywhere outside of Astorga? I've asked a couple of places when I was mooching around today doing my laundry, and their learned answer was, So I would say if you're in Madrid or Barcelona or anywhere else and you see a good confectionery shop, a chocolate shop or a candy shop, pop your head in and ask. It doesn't hurt to say, hey, I'm looking for chocolate from Astorga. If nothing else, it makes you sound like you know what you're talking about when you're talking Spanish chocolate. So that's always a bonus. But yeah, do some looking around. My wife was wondering just yesterday if I was going to have enough room in my pack to bring home all of the chocolate, or should I go ahead and get a second backpack and fill it with chocolate, go ahead and ship it back. And we're still in negotiations. We'll see how that goes. I got my notes here. Oh, this one was fun. So laundry options. I think I talked about this in my clothing episode, but it's strangely easier to do your laundry when you're staying in albergues and such, because a lot of times they have a little hand washing facility and then drying lines. But if you're like today, I'm in a hotel for a couple of nights, and I've stayed in a couple of casa rurals or hostels, which did not have laundry facilities. How do you do your laundry if you need to do it every day or two? Here's how I deal with that. I will, whatever needs to be laundered, I will either hand wash it in the sink, or one of my favorite things is I will have all of my clothes. I'll take off whatever I'm wearing there after I get done hiking. When I get to my room, get ready to shower, I'll strip down everything there on the floor right outside the shower. I'll get in, do my shower. Then I'll just grab all those clothes, throw them on the floor, pour a little bit of soap on them, or use a little bit of my bar soap to sudsy them up. Just kind of do a rough hand wash in the bottom of the tub or the bottom of the shower, and then give them a good rinse, and then wring them out. Turn the water off, wring them out as much as possible, and then hang them inside the shower. Do not ever hang wet clothes anywhere in a room outside of the shower. You must do it in a space that is intended for water, because you don't want to mess up somebody's stuff. Now, you may be tempted, if it's cool out and they've got the radiators on, to go ahead and just throw your stuff on the radiator. That's really hard on the radiator. It causes them to overheat because your wet clothes are cooling the radiator faster than normal. So its temperature, its thermostat is trying to keep up with that. It's pushing more and more heat into it. It throws the system off. Please don't put clothes on the radiator ever. Plus, when it gets overheated, it can fry these tech shirts. You can make these things crispy. I know from grade school, you can toast grilled cheese sandwiches in foil in a radiator. We used to do it. So anyway, just wring those clothes out. I let them then hang in the shower And that's one of the reasons my little shower line or my clothesline has suction cups on it, because I can usually find a couple of places with tile that I can stick those suction cups and then hang my stuff. I let them drip dry for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours, depends. And then just before I go to bed, I will take my towel that I use to dry off after my shower, because it's mostly dried from hanging on the peg or whatever. I'll spread it out on the bed. I'll get my shorts, my underwears, my underwear, my t-shirts, my socks, whatever I'm needing to dry. They've been drip drying for a few hours. I'll lay them 2 at a time, whatever will fit, onto the towel, roll them up in the towel, and then gently squeeze them. You don't want to tear up a towel. You don't want to damage the linens that they're providing you. Gently rotate it, give it a good squeeze, scrunch it up. That can get a lot, 90% of the rest of the water out. Do that and then rehang everything back in the bathtub or the shower enclosure, not just scattered around the room where you're going to damage furniture and such. And yes, I'm being a grouchy old man about it, because you're going to see signs everywhere in some of these places because people have damaged radiators and furniture with wet clothes. But if you're doing it in the shower, you should be just fine. And then usually by morning, they are 99.9999% dry, and you can pack them up, get them into your backpack, and be ready to go for the next day. I did a time and motion study, and it only takes about 7 minutes to do both ends of that process. So a lot quicker than dealing with a laundromat or something. So, yep, give it a try if you need to. So far, I did laundry today at a laundromat. I've been here better part of a week and a half. That's only the second time I've done laundry. I did laundry on the first or second day in Lyon, just because I had a lot of, my stuff from traveling. I just get sweaty from traveling and running through airports and all that stuff. So anyway, so the third thing that we've come up with is foot issues. And this isn't not really a question. It's just more of an observation. I've been running into a lot of people that develop foot issues. And instead of dealing with the foot issue right then, they just sort of half-ass it, and they keep going. I've seen at least one pilgrim that's going to have to stop because her toe was impacting the front of her shoe going down hills. She didn't control it. And she's going to have to end her Camino because of it. Now, I met some other pilgrims that one of the nice ladies, she was having the same issue, but she had taped it up, and primo work. She can do the rest of the Camino. Although I think they're cutting it short because they're on vacation. But yeah, if you have those issues, and I mean, even, when you start in the morning, if you feel like you've got a little friction burn on your Achilles tendon, just a little bit right here, stop. Don't walk another couple of miles, and then suddenly you do have a little beginning of a blister there. Stop, figure out what's different today than from yesterday. Maybe when you were stepping into your shoe, you curled that a little bit, and now you've got this poking into your Achilles tendon. Deal with the issue then. If you can take 10 minutes of trail time to stop, sit on a bench, get that footwear off, rearrange your sock, whatever it takes, please do it. Believe it or not, ignoring one little thing like that for 5 or 6 hours could mean you take a day or two to recover from whatever could have been dealt with for 5 minutes. So, I've talked about this in the staying healthy on the trail episode, and I think my footwear episode as well. So please, I can't overemphasize how important that is to take care of. Somebody asked me, sent me an email from when I showed the what's in my bag stuff, and they noticed that I have this little silver plaque on my shoe. This is from a company called Road ID. I mainly have it for when I'm hiking or doing training at home. But it is a little Velcro tab that goes over the laces of any shoes, any boots you want. and it has my name, where I'm from, my wife's name, my wife's phone number with country code, which for America is +1. It has my blood type and the fact that a little abbreviation that says NKMA, no known medication allergies. Just a quick reference, if there was a problem where my passport wasn't near me, because like when I'm out roaming around town, I don't carry my passport with me. If I'm in a hotel or Casa Rural where I have a room, I usually don't. In an albergue, yeah, I'll take my passport. But anyway, so Road ID, they're fairly inexpensive. Just go to roadid.com, and heck, you might be able to get on Amazon and then just use the customization bit they give you. Really worth having if you're at all concerned, particularly if you're traveling alone, like I tend to. So inexpensive. I think they're like $30. And you get them in lots of different colors. You can get bracelets, and you can even get that same little cuff, but it'll go on your watch band. So if you just want something on your watch band, you could do that too. And I think you can. Nope, I'm not going to say it. It's possible they have like the medical ID thing with it. I don't know. I've never really looked at that. But anyway, so check it out if you feel so inclined. Somebody else had emailed me about meals, and they said they really kind of would like to have the chance to, they want to be in the albergues, but sometimes they just don't want to deal with a communal meal. Are there decent options that they could just cook fast and then have with everybody else? And sure, you can do that. Most albergue owners, they'll let you sit with everybody else, even if you brought a little bit of food for the communal meals. That's usually not a problem, unless they need the extra seats for extra people. So just inquire with the albergue folks when you check in if that's something you need to think about. So in that vein, in Hospital, instead of going out, because everything was still closed. Easter Monday is a thing here. So everything was closed. And what I ended up doing was going down to a little shop that was open, and I got what I lovingly and jokingly call Spanish MREs. They look like this. These are shelf-stable meals, and there's, like a beef stew, there's peas with onions, there's the meatballs, which are some of my favorites. They have lots of different salads, like pasta salad with tuna, Russian salad, which I have not had Russian salad yet. I need to have that, which is sort of like a creamy tuna salad with peas and carrots and potatoes, and pretty good. Anyway, these MREs tend to be about €350. They're somewhere around 2,000 calories. So your calorie bang for buck with these things is really good. They're microwavable, and many of them, like the little pasta salads and stuff, they come with a little fold-up spoon, so you don't even need like a hiker spoon. But the larger things, you will need something like that. We've used them a lot in the past. For the most part, they're all pretty surprisingly good, and they're not a product that is chocked full of chemicals. They're not on that side of the food thing, but they are irradiated. So they pass these things through, I believe, gamma emitters to make them sterile inside the package. So they're shelf stable for a hell of a long time. And yeah, even the texture of the pasta and stuff being shelf stable for months at a time, it's really good. Some of those are my favorite stuff. So if you want to look into them, check any little tienda, any big mercado, they're going to have them there. We call them Spanish MREs, or unfrozen TV dinners. Good stuff. Let me look at the one. Oh, this is my favorite question I've gotten in a while, and I talked about it in my day 2 video. So a pilgrim emailed and said, "Hey, I've got a question. I've crossed paths, and I think it's somewhere around Logroño. I don't really remember. These red concrete markers that look like the Camino obelisks, but they're smaller. They're about that big. And they're painted bright red, and in the concrete it says MORT, death. And this pilgrim said, "Is that where pilgrims have died?" And I laughed because I kind of wondered that the first, couple times I saw them. It turns out I finally saw absolutely what they are in 2024. Those mark underground utilities. There are, I saw them laying in new electrical lines, big, huge electrical cables, taking them from overhead to underground. And instead of doing the usual yellow and black hazard sign that we would do in the States, they plunk these big, scary red death markers in the line on down. You can kind of look down and see where that line runs. And it's 99% of the time they're in farm fields, and that lets the farmers know when they're using their agricultural equipment, or they're going to do some digging or maintaining the edges of their pastures or whatever, that there's a big danger noodle full of electricity down there, and they don't want to hit that darn thing. So it's kind of fun. I kind of want one for my farm. I don't have any big cables running through my... I do through the... No, we have overhead. I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll get a blue one that says agua, and I'll do some blue concrete ones across my pasture where my water line goes. So we'll think about it. So anyway, it was a quick one for this week. Great mix of questions. I love it. I love doing these so much. I'm not an expert on this stuff. I'm just fairly observant, and I tend to ask a lot of questions, and I'm endlessly curious when I'm here about how this country works and how the Camino works. So I thank you for coming along and helping me do this and asking all the questions. Again, if you have any questions, shoot me a line at askmeacaminoquestion@gmail.com, and I will certainly get back to you as soon as possible, and then rudely steal your question for the Q&A. And of course, you can leave stuff down in the comments. If you find any of this nonsense helpful, please give a like. If you haven't subscribed, that's fine. I wouldn't subscribe to me either. And don't forget to follow us on TikTok, Snapchat. No, I'm lying. I have none of that. I have this, and that's it. So anyway, yeah, I'm never going to be one of those people. I'm just a sad man in a beige room. So anyway, I will see you guys in about a week. I think I'm probably going to do the next Q&A when I get to Tria Castella. I have a down day in Tria Castella at a kind of a fun little hotel-ish albergue. Tria Castella is an interesting town. I may do a little walk and talk because it sits in a giant valley where there used to be 3 castles, and yeah, there's some cool stuff. If I can get their lighting just right, there's a couple of cool things to show you. So we'll see how it goes next week. So anyway, I will see you for question and answer number 5 next week. Bye.